I would like to ask everyone in this room who's wearing glasses, take them off for a minute and try to read what this image says. For some of you, this may be an easy task. For others, almost impossible to do. Could you sustain doing this activity for many more hours? Weeks? Months? You can put them back again, your glasses. Your glasses are an assistive technology that helps to address a certain level of disability, in this case, visual impairment. Your glasses allow you to work and live. According to AT scale, for every dollar that is invested into assistive technology, there's a return into the economy of the users of about $9. Now let's take a look at the bigger picture. According to the UN, 1 in 7 people around the world has some kind of disability that requires a certain level of assistive device. Think about it. We all know someone who has a disability, a family member, a sibling, a spouse. Even in this very room, we could find people that do not only wear glasses, but also need walking canes, hearing aids, wheelchairs, and even hand prostheses. Good afternoon, everyone. Like many of you, I also use an assistive technology due to a certain level of disability. I like to think that being born without my right hand has defined my destiny. I am a mechatronics engineer, a university professor of biomechatronics, and the founder of Lat Bionics, an organization where we develop upper limb prostheses for people of low income, both in Peru and all across Latin America. This whole journey began with a dream of mine, which was to have a prosthesis like Luke Skywalker. Never could I imagine our current vision and reach. Because of course, as you can imagine, I am not the only one. When we went deeper into looking for the numbers of people who had a disability in our region, the numbers were alarming. Official records report that there exists at least 2.4 million people in our region with upper limb disabilities. 2.4 million people. Nevertheless, these ciphers are not clear because we live in a region where there exists a 50% informality rate. So what we've been doing at Lat Bionics was trying to address this problem. So what we do is we design and develop these prostheses using digital manufacturing technologies. For example, 3D scanning to have a digitalization of the amputated area of the user. Then, we will use our very own software in order to design the entire prosthesis on the computer. To finally manufacture each of all those pieces to be sent to be 3D printed. In this way, we have created 2 types of prosthesis. One, a body-powered prosthesis. A body-powered prosthesis gets to operate by the movement of the remaining wrist or elbow of the user. So in this way, with our cable system, they are capable to open and close their hand easily. The other type of prosthesis that we have developed are the electronic one prosthesis. This type of prosthesis requires motors that live inside of the prosthesis, also an electronic board that works as the brain of the entire system, and a set of sensors that allow us to infer intention. But what do I mean about inferring intention? Well, these sensors, when they are put around the amputated area of the user, are capable to detect those tiny electrical variations that occur in our every muscles when we're trying to attempt some movement. So when put it so collectively around the amputated area of the user, we can collect this type of signals. Then these signals will be sent to the brain of the prosthesis, and the entire making of the decisions will run on. In this way, we have found a very easy and a capable way to recognize when the person is trying to open or close the prosthesis. But there was a problem. We noticed that much like a person going to the gym, the muscles tend to proceed some fatigue. So at the beginning, the prosthesis will be working really correctly, but after 3 to 4 hours later, the fatigue will diminish the success rate of intention that we were able to process up until 50%. So 5 out of 10 attempts were able to be recognized by the prosthesis. For some of you, this might not be like a bigger downgrade of this intention, but you need to understand that in this assistive technology world, this kind of decrease is really alarming. Because if the prosthesis isn't obeying you, you're not going to want to use it again, right? This belonging sensation gets to be broke. This is where our question arose. How can we increase this success rate without making a bigger pay to our users about the cost of the prosthesis? And this is where the concept of artificial intelligence comes in. What we did was we elaborate these type of signals from the user's amputated arm in order to teach this artificial intelligence what are the intentions of the user when trying to apply this type of movements. So we will be collecting an entire large data set of 20 Peruvians that agreed to participate with ours. So what we are doing in this video is we are recording the signals of these persons when they're trying to achieve three types of gestures: a wrist flexion, a rest position, and a wrist extension. Then we'll run our low energy models that helps us to understand which are the patterns inside these body signals to operate. So when we ran our algorithms in the computer, this is what happened. It was like the prosthesis was capable to understand what was the user's intention when they were trying to perform each or different type of movement, to recognize the flexion or to recognize the extension. And this was really helpful because when we ran these type of algorithms, we understood that even the simplest models, when combined, were able to give us the better approach of it. So by the end, this 50% rate jumped until 97% of accuracy. Even considering the fatigue aspect that I told you about, because this kind of artificial intelligence is an adaptive one. So it would adapt even when the muscles gets to tend tired more and more. I do remember a very specific moment when one of our users was trying to move their hands again, and there was no algorithms, there was no TV, there was no computer, no laboratory at all. A single question arises: is this really happening? And that moment made me realize that intersection between emotion and science was beautiful, because that made me understand that technology serves one purpose only: dignity. So far at Lab Bionics, we have 150 people using our prosthesis, with a waiting list of more than 300 people to run over by. The most beautiful thing is that 80% of our users already got back to work by wearing one of our prostheses. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And yet, poverty still means like a barrier in order to people in Latin America, millions of people, to get access to assistive technologies, even the simplest ones. And I'm not talking about like these very specific, not because they don't exist, but because access has not reached them yet. What we are building in Latin America are not only upper limb prostheses. We're building local capacity, scientific knowledge, dignity, in order to provide a solution for millions of our people. So the problem is no longer a technological one. It is a collective one. We need allies. We need allies that understand that dignity should not be a luxury. We need allies that understand that innovation should be made locally. We need allies that understand that opportunity should not depend on your income or the geography where you were born. Today, I invite you to join me in this dream of when innovation meets commitment, of this dream where local talent meets opportunity, where everyone deserves the same chance for those who have been waiting too long in order to get access to this. Because when a person gets to move their hand again, they're moving their future forward. Thank you so much.